Alright, so I had a little think about what we're going to make with this scene that we're making currently, and eventually I decided let's make a hypnosis journal. Now, a hypnosis journal is kind of what has happened up to this point and what we should be doing now. But it's not going to be as sophisticated as that, since I don't want to get too complicated. So it's just going to be description of what's happened previously, a little short summary of it, and then what you should be doing now. Alright, but before we get into that, I noticed that to do this we will need to save variables. So I'm going to show you which classes can do that. In the data manager here, we have make save contents and extract save contents, and this is used every time you save and load a game. So saving it obviously does this, and when you load it does this. Alright, so as you can see here, when you save a game, it saves game system, game timer, game message, switches, variables, self switches, actors, party, troops, maps, and player. And as you can see, there's a couple of here that it doesn't have listed here. So this is, if you want to save variables, these are the classes you can use. Alright, so game timer, game system, and actors, and yada yada. So what you want to do is, if you're going to save variables, it's a good idea to save it in something relevant. So if I'm going to modify, if I want to save variables which have something to do with actors, I don't want to save them in game switches, because, you know, why would I do that? If it's related to game actors, save it in the game actors class. Alright, so now let's hop into how to do it. Down to our custom scene here, and we have the stuff we did previously. I think I'll keep it. Yeah, I'll keep that, and I will go and grab game system, because I think that a hypnosis journal would be more of a system thing rather than anything else I can see down here. So game system, and these are exactly what I used to save right here. So we just copy these, game system, and we'll go down here into our custom scene. Yep, space it out, go down the bottom, end. Alright, now ATTR accessor and reader. There's also another one called ATTR writer. So let's just get rid of that. Here's what they do. ATTR underscore reader. This can be used to read a variable from another class. I'll hop into that in a moment, so we'll just continue to the next one now. ATTR writer can be used to write to this variable. And then ATTR accessor can do both of them. Alright, so if you have some logic that you've been thinking about right now, these are kind of like global variables, but they're not bad to use. So when I talked about global variables when we first got around to it, I said the global variables were bad to use, and they are. They're not good to use, and there's a reason for that. Attributes, accessors, and readers and writers are also kind of global variables as well, depending on what your class is. And so they can be considered bad by some people, but it's used a lot, so not so much. Alright, so ATTR reader, and we'll just go readable, writer, it's writable, and accessor, accessible. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, so now, that might not be so clear in the best way to explain it, so we'll jump into another example here. So, get rid of initialize for now. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to hop into scene map here. We're going to get update. Damn it, where's update? Update. No, that's good enough for me. Update basic. There you are. Copy that. Go into our custom scene again, and this is only going to be there for a temporary moment. So, and this is what's going to happen. We are going to get rid of that and just keep update. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to go game underscore system dot readable. We're going to go message box underscore p, readable. Then we're going to do writable and then accessor. So writable, and then accessor, accessible. Now I'm going to put writable after accessor, and we're going to run it. Now let's take a look at what happens. Nil, nil, error. Alright, now to explain that in clickable sense, game underscore system dot readable accesses this, and this is actually a variable. When you go accessible, it also accesses this, which is a variable. And when you go this, it also accesses this, which is also a variable. But these are the important things about them. ATTR reader means you can read from it, from another class, here. ATTR writer means you can write to it, but you cannot read from it, which means this gives an error because it cannot read from it, it can only write to it. So I can go game underscore system writable equals 10, and it's all happy with that, it doesn't mind because it can write to it. But I cannot go game system readable equals 9 because that will throw me an error saying I can't write to this. What the fuck are you doing? Okay. So just to prove that, we'll do that. It's going to write to it, and I can't prove that it's writing to it since I can't actually read from it in the message box. So for now, it's going to go nil, and then it's going to error on that line. So nil, error. Undefined method readable equals. You know, because you cannot write to the readable ATTR. Alrighty. So when it comes to ATTR accessor, you can do both to them. So if I was to go here and grab this, I'll print out the accessible before you set it to anything, and then go equals 47, and then I'll print it out again. Message box underscore p, then print it out, and then it's going to error after that because of the readable one. So nil, 47. So I hope that's making some sense. ATTR reader means you can read from something, but you cannot write to it. ATTR writer means you can write to something, but you cannot read from it. Meaning, if you're in another class, you cannot, you don't know what this actually is. You cannot say if game underscore system dot writable is equal to yada yada yada. And for ATTR accessor, you can do both of these. Alright, so it's important to know which one you want to be using. In this case, for our hypnosis thing, we need to use both, because we are going to write to the variable and we're going to read from it. We're going to write to the variable from game interpreter, because you're going to give an option to the people who are using the script to be able to write to the variable so they can have stuff print out to the screen. And then you want to have it readable, so that way you can use that in the custom scene. Alrighty. Now, to save the variable, it does it for you actually. If you just have game system here and then have ATTR this stuff, that means every time I save the game, this will save with it, because this is that's what they do in the system. So going back to our data manager here, if you have an ATTR reader, writer, or accessor in any of these classes here, then you will save those variables. Otherwise, if you have it in one of these other classes, so game screen doesn't save, if you have it here, then it's not going to save. So make sure you put it in a class that does actually save. Okay? Alright, now let's get on with it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to get object initialization. So where is that? That's in game system. So game underscore system. Where are you? There you are. Give me. I want you. Go down, and in we don't need CMap anymore. Alright, put it there. Get rid of all this because we're going to alias it. So alias dp3, my name, game system underscore synopsis. I don't remember how to spell it. Synopsis, I think it is. I'll fix it up later if I'm wrong. No, I think it's synopsis. Whatever. Underscore initialize. and then underscore palm. Alrighty, and then initialize. So we're aliasing it, putting it properly. Now, when it comes to ATTRs, in your own class, it's actually an instance variable. So in this case, I can just go at readable is equal to 4. Alright, so at readable is equal to 4, and that will set this, because as I said before, even though ATTR reader can only be read, when it comes to this class it can do both, and that's readable. It can do both in this class, because this it's an instance variable in this class. And the only thing that ATTRs do in other classes is if I was to try and access this from this one here, you can only read from it, you can't write to it. And this one, same thing, you can only write to it, not read from it. This one, if it's in this class, you can do both to it. Alrighty. Now let's make proper names for this. So I think that for our Synopsis journal, we are going to have text, which is going to display, so description text, and we're going to go synopsis. I really will fix this after the tutorial to make sure I'm spelling it correctly, but I don't know what it is off by heart right now. So it's just description text. Alright, that's going to be an accessor, by the way, so because we need to do both. Accessor. Then we're going to have direction. Sys. Damn it. Feeling so bad, I keep thinking I'm spelling it wrong. It's not this, direction text. Direction meaning, what do you do now? Where do you go from here? What's your quest objective? So it can either be a direction text or objective text. It doesn't really matter to me. I'll just go with objective. Now we'll have another attribute accessor, and this one's going to be background image. So if you want to change the background image depending on where you are in the game, you can do that. So synopsis. Let's go with background image, and then another ATTR accessor. Oh, by the way, these have to be symbols. You can't go attribute accessor and then go string name. It has to be a symbol, which is the colon in front of a variable name. Alright, so attribute accessor, and this other one I was going to have, I forgot what it was. I'll remember it shortly, but until then, yeah, we just pretend it doesn't exist. So synopsis description text on initialize, this is going to equal, and this is an instance variable, by the way. It's going to just equal nothing, and objective text also going to equal nothing. Equals nothing. And then synopsis background, this also nothing. So background image is the file name for the image you're going to be using, but that's pretty much it. Alright, so they're all going to be set to nothing. They're just being initialized right now, and then you call the original method. Call original method. Call original method. Great. So that's how you set up attribute accessors and stuff like that. Now what we can do is, just to prove that it does save, I'm going to modify these, and then I'm going to save them and print them out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go grab this. We're going to go up to this guy here, which I was testing for another thing. We're going to go script. So game underscore system, which is where this attribute is being saved. Description text, and this is going to equal, down there, it's going to equal descriptive stuff. Descriptive stuff, even though it's really not. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to put that there, and then we are going to message box underscore p it. So message box underscore p game underscore system with a dollar sign since it's a global dot that. So So what's going to happen is it's going to print this out first. It's going to equal nothing because that's what we set it to when initialize. Then it's going to change that to descriptive stuff. So if we talk to him again after that, it's going to say descriptive stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to him, and then we're going to save the game, and then we're going to talk to him again after it has changed that, and it's going to work. Game, talk to him, it's going to be nothing. See, nothing. It's changed, save it, quit, go back into it, continue, talk to said fellow. Oh, it's nil, okay. Nope. And the reason why, damn it, the reason why I think would be because of the way that it's doing this. Oh yeah, that's why. That's exactly why. Space it out. And come here. Gimme. There we go. Now it should work. Bloody thing. New game. There we go. Now you can see it's actually working. Save it. X. Play it. Oh, continue. Talk to him. Just do stuff. And there we go. So that's proof that it's actually saved. Alright, so if I was to go new game again, it's going to say nothing. See? Nothing. And then once you save the game, it saves the whatever value the attribute is along with it. And that's important because over the course of the Synopsis journal scene, if someone changes the descriptive text to, for whatever reason, in the adjective text, you want that to be able to save with the every time you save the game, so that way every time you load it back in, it's what it should be rather than what it is on initialize. Alright, so that's pretty much all you have to do to save. You can use the other classes like I mentioned. Game_actors and game party does it, but that's pretty much all it takes to save. So attribute writer, attribute reader, and attribute accessor are the ones you want to use. Just make sure you understand the difference between them before you try to use them. Also, I thought I'd mention that this is the #1 reason why you must start a new game when you install a new script. This ATTR, reader, writer, and accessor are the #1 reasons why this occurs. And the reason why is simple. Because of initialize, these things are not always set to what you want them to be. And what I mean is the following. If you go back to Data Manager and you take a look at these, you're using global variables, game system, timer, message, and yada yada yada. Now, when you load from a save game, it's making these equal to something that was to the previous initialized one that was initialized when you started a new game. And this one keeps getting passed back into it and back into it again and again and again. And so if you were to make attribute accessors and stuff in that class after you started the new game and you load from it, then that means that it doesn't actually have your ATTR accessors. It doesn't know what they are. So just to put that in perspective, when you go and play this game, if I go in new game, when I speak to the guy, it's going to error because they don't exist. Alright, so Synopsis security text for yada 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 doesn't exist. And of course it doesn't, right? So if we go back, if we go and talk to him again, new game, no, not talk to him, we go into new game and save it, and then we press X, and then we go into our script, and then we actually put it in there. What do you think is going to happen? Alright, it exists now, doesn't it? No. Continue. So when I speak to the guy, it should error, right? Wrong. It's not going to error. It's going to pass in nil. Because now it knows what this means. It knows that this exists and stuff like that, but it hasn't gone back through initialized. So it hasn't set these variables. And the reason why this is the #1 cause of a new game needing to be done on your system is because if you don't go through initialize again, these automatically get set to nil. They don't exist, or they have nothing in them, basically. Alright, so if I was to go at that plus equals 1, pretending it's an integer for a moment, it's going to go, I don't know how to add 1 onto nil. What are you trying to make me do here? I don't understand. And that's the way the computer does it. So unless it actually is something already, you can't do things with it. And that's the reason why it causes a new game. So if you wanted to test against that, you can do something in update like we did for our collision sound here. Like this. You can do that for your attribute accessors and readers and writers and stuff as well, if you want to do against that thing. Otherwise, if you're going to write attribute accessors and stuff like this, and you only have it set and initialized, make sure you tell the people who use your script to always start a new game. Otherwise, it's going to error on them, and they will complain, going, I don't know why it's not working, got error here, and yada yada yada. And then you will search up the reason why, and you won't know why yourself, because it shouldn't. You don't know why it's erroring until you figure it out. Oh, you're starting a new game. You need to start a new game, and that's why. So just keep that in mind, because that is very important to remember for debugging, as well as informing people what errors are on their thing. So you may think it's a script incompatibility, but not always. A lot of the times that's the reason why scripts aren't working properly. So just keep that in mind, and until next time, stay safe.